to get through it as well. Jack Proctor, my colleague, is joining me today, and Jack is recording this session for everyone who's registered, can get a copy of it. But as I always say with these sessions, just watching a recording doesn't get you the true value. For me, the true value is attending, listening to the Q&A, and picking up your own questions and joining in the discussion. So again, just to repeat the admin, if you don't mind, keep your videos. You can have your videos on if you like, I don't mind, but please make sure your microphones are on mute, please, for this session. And that means I can get through the content quite quickly. So good morning, my name's Kevin Walls. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Scottish Edge. Welcome. Regional Edge 2. This is our second ever Regional Edge competition. And this, as I said, this is a second Regional Edge competition. We did a pilot last year for the Scottish Government, which was hugely well received. We took it out to 4 regions. It was amazing. We got a great response. We got great enthusiasm from it. We got some great attendees, including the First Minister attending one of the finals, and they loved it so much they want us to do it again. So we're here. We're here to deliver another Regional Edge competition with our 4 key partners. So this time we're partnering with Elevator and GrowBiz in one combined region. We're also partnering with Highlands and Islands Enterprise, Opportunity North East, and South of Scotland Enterprise. So those are our key partners, and Scottish Edge will work alongside these partners to deliver this competition for you. But today you want to hear more about what it's all about. Okay, so let's get cracking, let's get into the detail. Once my slides start moving, bear with me a wee second. Okay, so I've introduced myself. I'm Kevin. Supporting me today is Jack Proctor. Jack is our marketing manager, and Jack is going to be handling the Q&A. So what I'd recommend, the best way we get through all this content is that I'm going to go through everything to do with the competition. This is about giving you as much information as possible to get you as best prepared as possible to submit a great application. So we want everybody to compete in Scottish Edge as best as they can be. So there's no secrets here. We're going to tell you how to do a great application. We're going to give you lots of great tips around a great video. And we're going to have a conversation to answer all your questions as best we can to help you be as prepared as you can be. Okay, so there's no secret formula here. We'll give you all the top tips, and then it's up to you to submit your best application to stand out. This is a competition. So Jack's going to be handling the Q&A. The best way I would recommend we do this is hold your questions to the end if you can, please, because the majority of stuff that you're going to ask, I'm going to cover in the content. We've been doing this for 10 years now, and we're going to cover a lot of information. And as we get to the end, if you feel as if, I've covered a section but haven't gone into a lot of detail on it, you might want to pop a question in the chat. Jack will handle these questions in the chat as the session goes on. And if there's any outstanding questions at the end, we'll answer those at the end. And also at the end, we can open up the mics and we can have a conversation. If anyone's got any direct questions, I'm more than happy to take direct questions at the end of the session as well. Okay. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about Scottish Edge, who we are, why we exist. And then we're going to talk about Regional Edge, why we've created it, and why it's so important for the regions. We'll talk about our competition prizes or the awards. These are funding awards. We'll give you the key dates of the competition, which is crucial to help you understand, what is the process in terms of a timeline for your application. We'll talk about the application process. What does it look like if you haven't started it already? We'll give you lots of information around a 3-minute pitch. So if you've never done a 3-minute pitch before, where do you start? How do you go about it? What do you say? What do you not say? We'll give you lots of information around that. We're also very clear and transparent about our assessment process. What does that look like? We'll give you lots of information on that so you can understand the whole process, again, that your application is going to go through. And then we'll talk about top tips. So we've got a summary of things we've learned over the years. How do you submit a great application? How do you stand out amongst other competitors? Because you are competing. How do you stand out in this competition to get a great application that judges want to read and consume? All great stuff. And they watch a pitch video and just go, wow, loving the sound of this. We've got to hear more. And then at the end, we'll pick up questions as well, if there's any final questions. So Scottish Edge, what is it and why do we exist? So Scottish Edge is a community interest company. We're a team of 8 people. And we have been an organisation since 2012 when it spun out of Scottish Enterprise. So it was originally an idea. It was a project in the Scottish Enterprise, and it ran for 4 rounds, and then it was spun out into a community interest company, and that's when our current CEO, Evelyn McDonald, came on board, and Evelyn set it up as a community interest company. And at the time when we were set up, we were tasked with identifying and funding Scotland's up and coming, innovative, high growth entrepreneurial talent. So startups, high potential, high growth, innovative ideas, but giving these early stage startups a boost of cash, because at that time there was very much a gap in the market for early stage startups getting 50, 100K in funding to get themselves moving. So that's why we were created. And we have evolved over the years. So the first round when it spun out was round five, and we have just delivered round 26 of the Scottish Edge competition. So we deliver 2 rounds a year in the main competition, and we do 1 round a year at the moment for regional Edge as well. So why Scottish Edge? We are open to all sectors. So why would you apply? We are sector agnostic. So you don't have to be, we're not limiting to life sciences, we're not limiting to technology or AI. Anybody from any sector can apply to Scottish Edge, and we'll look at the application. Every application to the process gets detailed feedback, gets support and guidance, and winners get access to a massive network of Edge alumni that we've built up over the years. And for those prize winners who have loan elements in their award, we're super flexible funders. So we're not a bank. We've got a loan element in our awards, but when it comes to lending that money, we are super flexible with it because we want that money to grow your business. We don't want the money to strangle your cash flow. So we work closely with all the winners to make sure that the loans are affordable, and they're paying, the amount that they can afford to make sure they're growing their business in a safe and responsible way. And when we were set up, we have very gratefully been supported by our key partners. Royal Bank of Scotland, they've been there from the very start. They put in the loan funding. Hunter Foundation have been behind us the whole way, supporting us with different cost lines. Scottish Government have been behind us, supporting us with grant funding. And Scottish Enterprise have been behind us in a multitude of ways, supporting us with good talent from Scottish Enterprise to come and work as secondees, and also giving us routes into Scottish Enterprise to get support for our winners as well. So these are our founding kind of partners, and they've been with us the whole journey since Scottish Edge was established. So what has Scottish Edge achieved as an organisation? So I'm just going to move this out of the way, box in the way. So far, since 2012, we have over 6,000 applications. So I've seen a lot over the years. In my personal 7 years with Scottish Edge, I've lost track of how many applications I've read, how many great pitch videos I've seen, how many semi-finals I've seen, and how many winners I've seen. But what I can tell you is that the quality and the standard of application and pitch is getting stronger every single round. So over 6,000 applications, we've supported 739 winning businesses, and about 80% of those are still trading, which is a great result. We have given out over 100,000, sorry, we've given out over 30 million in awards in loans and grants over that time. And our winners cover all corners of Scotland. Scottish Edge exists to fund businesses in Scotland. That's what we do. We want to get out and we want to support more and more businesses around Scotland. Okay, so the Regional Edge overview. So why Regional Edge was created. So Scottish Edge, as I said, have been running for over 12, 13 years now. And recently we were starting to get feedback that there were some concerns about smaller, kind of more rural businesses that were starting up outside the Central Belt effectively. And they might have been in the Highlands and Islands, or they might have been in the east coast of Scotland or the south of Scotland. And we weren't seeing them apply to Scottish Edge. And we went out and we spoke to individuals, and we spoke to businesses, and we spoke to partners. We definitely got the sense that some of these kind of rural, smaller businesses didn't feel as if they could compete with what is seen as the Central Belt big ticket innovation that applies to Scottish Edge. So the AI, the biotech, and all that kind of fancy stuff. So we started to get feedback to say that Scottish Edge was missing out on these applications from smaller rural communities, because they wouldn't come in because they feel as if they couldn't compete. So the team took that on board, and then we had a team away day, and we came up with this idea of doing something different. At the same time, the Scottish Government came to Scottish Edge and said, "We've got some funding for you. We want you to deliver more, get this out to more Edge winners." So we had our team away day and we came back and says, no, 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 no. We don't just want to keep doing the same. We want to create something different. So we created Regional Edge and we pitched it to the Scottish Government and we told them why. We said, look, we believe we're missing out on applications because the Central Belt, people won't apply because they don't feel as if they can compete. So we want to take the Central Belt out of the equation and we want to create regions and create a fund called the Regional Edge and take it out in the regions where smaller businesses can apply. And they loved it. Said, yeah, go for it. Did the pilot, hugely successful, and they've funded us for another couple of rounds. So we've got Scottish government and private sector funding for this round of £400,000 over four regions. So each region will have access to £100,000 in awards, and I'll break down those awards in a second. And those funds will be distributed by our Scottish Edge competition process. So that's an application, that's a final, that's an award, it's a contract, and we issue the cash on behalf of our regional partners. Each region will have their own finals where the businesses will stand and pitch in front of a panel of judges, and there'll be a live audience as well. I'll tell you more about that in a second. And the partners will decide who the winners are of the awards. And then the Scottish Edge team will onboard the Regional Edge winners as Edge alumni. So you get the contract, you get your funding, you get regional relationship management guidance and support, and you also get access to the wider Edge alumni network, which for the majority of Edge winners is the biggest value of winning Edge. It's getting all that support and moving your business forward. So when you apply to Regional Edge, you will select which funding you're applying for. So the top award in your region will be a £50,000 award, and that's a 70% loan and 30% grant. So if you want the 50K, think about how you're going to fund that £35,000 loan when that comes into your business. If you just need a grant to move things forward, then there's two £15,000 grants and two £10,000 grants available per region. So you'll choose one of those awards that you want to apply for in your application process. 50K, which is loan grant, 15,000 grant, or a £10,000 grant. And it's really important that you do select the drop down and select the correct region that you're applying to. So it's the responsibility of the applicant to choose the correct region. So make sure that if you think that your town or wherever your business is based is in one of the four regional partner areas, do your research, make sure it comes under the boundary of the regional partners. And if it does, then you can submit an application and you select the drop-down box of which regional partner you sit under. So is it South of Scotland Enterprise? Is it Highlands and Islands Enterprise? Is it Opportunity North East area? Or is it the combination of ProBiz and Elevator, which covers Perth, Kinross, Dundee, Angus and Tayside? You have to do your research and make sure you fall within those categories. Now, the reason why I say that is I look at the applications that come in, and we've already had some started. And there was one come in yesterday from New Mexico in the USA. So someone has saw a funding competition somewhere on the internet and thought, I'll just stick in an application, but they're actually in New Mexico. So I don't think we'll be traveling to New Mexico to deliver a final, but just make sure you're aware of where your business location is actually at and does it fall within one of these four regional partner boundaries. So who can apply? So for the £50,000 top award, so because there's a loan grant element to that, your business must be a registered business entity. So it has to be a limited company, social enterprise, a KIC, or a charity, because the loan element can only be attributed to a legal entity. For the grant only awards, the 15s and the 10s, you have to be a business entity of some kind. So you can be a limited co, you can be a social enterprise, a KIC, or a charity, but also you could be a sole trader or a partnership because there's no loan element. So we can award loans to sole traders and partnerships. Sorry, forgive me. We can award grants to sole traders and partnerships, but we cannot award loans because there's no legal business entity that takes responsibility for the debt. Okay, so think about your business structure. Where do you sit? If you want the 50K loan grant, you have to be a limited company, a social enterprise, a KIC, or a charity. If you just need a bit of grant funding to move things forward in your business, you can be a limited co, social, KIC, or charity as well. But for the grant, you could also be a sole trader or a partnership. This is all on our website. Everything I'm telling you here is on our website. The eligibility criteria for Regional Edge is the same as the Scottish Edge. These don't change. So your business must be pre-trading or have been trading for less than 5 years. Now, what we mean by trading for less than 5 years is the 5 year mark is not when you set up your limited company or when you created your kit or your charity. The 5 years starts when you start generating revenue from paying customers. So you may well have started a business in lockdown. You may have set up a limited company in 2020. But by the time you got your business off the ground, you didn't start generating revenue from customers until 2023, which means you've only got 3 years of trading history. So that's fine. You are eligible. So just be careful of that. Pre-trading businesses are fine. If you've got some trading history, has to be less than 5 years of generating customer revenue. Your business must be headquartered in Scotland. We support businesses based in Scotland that can grow, generate revenue, pay their taxes, create jobs in Scotland. Your business must be based and headquartered in Scotland. And the founder must be resident in Scotland as well. If the founder is not resident in Scotland, you're not eligible to apply. If you have current sales turnover, it's got to be less than £1 million per year. And if you do have some investment, if you've taken an equity investment, not grants, if you've taken an equity investment, it has to be less than £500,000. And if anyone's got any questions on this, we can take them in the chat or we can take them offline. So investment, I'm going to reiterate that point. Investment, when you think, some people think grants count as investment. It doesn't. Grant funding is de minimis, so it is not included in investment. Investment is equity investment. So when you sell part of your company and somebody gives you money, so you give away 5% of your business and someone gives you 100K, that's equity investment. That goes towards that 500,000 figure. Next part of eligibility, 50% of the business ownership has to be attributed to the directors working actively in the business on a day-to-day basis. Scottish Edge team want to work with the business directors, but more importantly, we want to work with the directors that own more than 50% share because they are the decision makers. So we want to work directly with those people. So that's why you have to be headquartered in Scotland, founder resident in Scotland, so we can work with the founding directors and the majority shareholders on a daily basis to help you grow your business. And each applicant must have ambitions to generate approximately £200,000 turnover over the next 3 years after the award goes in. Now, if you're in a sector that is, if we say a specialist sector like pharma or life sciences, or any kind of sector where you're just getting off the ground, but you could be 3, 4, 5 years from revenue, then that's okay. We can consider applications like that. We do it in Scottish Edge, we'll do it in Regional Edge, and you might predict that you're not actually going to generate revenue for another 3, 4, 5 years. That's okay. We don't expect your 200K turnover to come along until you start trading, whenever that figure is. And the application form helps you with that. So that it'll ask you to put in when your trading dates are, when you anticipate you will start trading. So we're looking for ambitious, high growth potential in your business who can potentially generate an extra £200,000 turnover over a 3 year period. So that's cumulative. That's not 200K a year. So that's over the 3 years of after an Edge award, you're aiming to generate an additional 200K for your business. So what does a journey look like through the competition? So you will come into the portal, which I'll show you in a second, and you'll select the award that you are applying for. You'll select the region that you are based in. You will then go on to submit your application. So you'll fill in all these boxes, which I'll show you in a second, and you'll add your 3-minute pitch video and you'll submit that. That application and video will then be reviewed by the regional partners, by experienced business experts, and they will do a first stage review of the applicants they get in, and they will decide which businesses they want to take to the live finals. So that's all done internally with the regional partners. They'll look at all the applications, and I'll talk to you in a second about what criteria they use to decide which businesses go forward. If you get to the live final, the dates we'll talk about in a second, you'll be asked to come along to a venue, stand in front of a panel of 4 judges, pitch for 3 minutes, take 13 minutes of questions in front of a live audience, and at the end of that day, the four judges will pick their five winners from each region. So that's the process. It's quite fast paced, it's quite fast moving. But I'll now move on to a little bit more detail about the timeline. So these are the key dates you might want to jot down. Some of these are super important. So we are now open for applications. Some of you have already started that process because as of this morning, we had 58 applications started. So we're already off the mark and we've got some applications started and open in the system. So we opened for applications on the 14th of January. We've obviously got the online workshop today for you guys to talk you through the application process. And this is a big one. Wednesday, the 11th of February, the application window closes at 2 p.m. I'm going to say this again. Wednesday, 11th of February, we close for applications at 2 p.m. sharp. No applications will be admitted or accepted after 2 p.m. So you can't start it at 10 to 2 and hopefully get it finished for 5 o'clock. It has to be started, completed, and submitted by 2 p.m. because no applications will be accepted after that. So please bear that in mind. I've done this for many years and I know how entrepreneurs work, and the majority of you will leave it to the last minute. Please don't do that. It just takes so much stress off you if you just get it done. As soon as you're happy with the application, don't fiddle with it, don't change anything. You're happy with the video, you're happy with the wording, submit it, get it in. And I actually say to all applicants, make the deadline in your head the 10th of February, not the 11th, and keep the 11th for any emergencies. Because now on the 10th of February, anything could happen in your life and you need a bit more time. So if I was applying to Scottish Edge, I wouldn't set my deadline for the 11th of February. I would set it for the 10th. That would be my drop dead date to get it in. Because if anything goes wrong, then you've got the 11th of February for any last minute catastrophes that come along. At least you've got a few hours to make some changes or to get your application in. So 2 p.m. sharp, no more applications accepted. Once the applications are in and they're given out to the partners will review the first stage process between the 16th of February and the 20th of February. And all applicants will find out on Monday, the 23rd of February, if they've been successful going through to the final. So all applicants will receive an email with the result, has it been successful or not, and all applicants will receive detailed feedback on their application. If you are successful in moving through to the final stage, you'll be given details of the date, time, and place of your final and the time of your pitching slot. So these are the key dates you have to bear in mind depending on which region you are in. So the Highlands and Islands final takes place on Thursday, the 12th of March. Opportunity North East, and that's Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire, is Tuesday, the 17th of March. South of Scotland Enterprise is Tuesday, the 24th of March. And GrowBiz and Elevator combined regions are Thursday, the 26th of March. And there'll be an awards evening after each final on the day. So the businesses will pitch, the judges will take a break, they will decide who gets awards, and the awards will be given out immediately after the pitching day itself. So that's the key dates. They're on our website. Jot them down, keep a note of them, bear them in mind. I'm going to leave one thing on this slide. 11th of February. Don't leave it to the last minute. Aim for the 10th of February, get your application in, takes the heat off, and please don't leave it to the last day. So when you come to go into the portal, into the Scottish Edge website to start this process, if you haven't done it already, just go to the Scottish Edge homepage, scottishedge.com, select Regional Edge tab from the top, and then you can just apply here. That will take you through the process. So I'll show you a couple of screens after this in a second. What does that look like once you click through apply here? One thing I do want to point out on the Scottish Edge website, if you haven't seen it already, we have a digital member of the team called Edgeworld. Bottom right hand side, as you can see there. So last year, Jack and I worked with an amazing team and we created Edgeworld, who is a conversational AI chatbot. So this is not a text chatbot like you get in every organization's got a text chatbot and you type it and it hasn't got a clue what you're talking about. This is Edgeworld. This is a conversation you have with someone, okay? So it's a digital AI avatar and you can have a verbal conversation. For me, this is your first point of contact for anything to do with Regional Edge or Scottish Edge. And Edward is got a big database now. He's got a huge knowledge base, and he can answer lots and lots of your questions without emailing a member of the team or emailing a member of the regional teams and maybe waiting for time to get an answer back. If you've got a question you want to ask, try Edward. If Edward can't answer it, then you can come to myself, Jack, or one of the regional partners, and I'll give you the contact details at the end. But right off the bat, use Edward. It's free. Go in there, have your call, ask Edward questions. You can spend as much or as little time as you like with it, but ask the questions because he's very knowledgeable and he can answer a lot of the frequently asked questions. So when you click to apply and you go through into the portal, you'll be asked to get registered if you haven't applied to Scottish Edge in any of our competitions before. And it'll ask you the details of your business, your usual stuff, your name, your email address, and phone number, and everything else. And it'll ask you to set up all your details and get you registered on the portal so you can access your application process. When you're ready to get into the application itself, the key thing I want to point out here is this section here. You'll see application questions. So this section here, you'll see 8 boxes. So there's funding, value proposition, team, impact, customer focus, business growth, use of funds, and attachments. Those sections are the sections of the application we ask you to complete. Now, don't panic. This might look a lot to complete, but you can save and come back at any time. So you might want to complete one section at a time, tick the box to say, I've done that section. I'm now going to save it. I'm going to go away and do something else. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to come back later and do another section. That's why we do the application workshop early to give you a few weeks to get your application in. As you go through the process and as you complete the funding section and the value prop section, when you get to the bottom of the section, there's a box to tick to say you're finished that section. When you tick that box, the box will go green, as you can see there. So in this example, the funding box is green. That's been ticked. That's completed. The use of funding section is orange because that's been started but not completed. And all the other sections are white because they haven't been started yet. So that's your video guide, your visual guide, I should say, on how complete your application actually is. And you'll see here on the screen that that's where you'll submit your video link. So we recommend you do a YouTube video, put it on an unlisted channel, and there's guidance on this on our website and in our brochure. How do you do that? There's lots of stuff to teach you how to do that on our website, but we recommend a YouTube link because it's universally shareable with the judges, or a Vimeo link, something like that. But ideally, YouTube is easier. You can put a password on your video link if you want. You don't need to because it's all protected under confidentiality. But if you feel as if you really have to, please feel free to put it in there. But you really don't have to. It is very safe and secure. So you're going through your application process, you're answering all the questions in the process, you're given all the information you need. Now it comes to your 3-minute pitch video. So what I'm showing you here is an example of a pitch structure that I've heard I've heard hundreds, if not thousands, of pitches over the years. And this is a recommended structure that you could possibly use if you've never done a pitch before. Now, you don't have to use this structure. You can do it any way you like. It's your business, it's your story. You tell it any way you like, but you want it to have impact. But as an example, these are the key things that judges want to hear about in your 3 minutes. Okay, so I'll talk you through each one of these individually. When you're telling your 3-minute story, you want to open a good introduction. You want a good, strong hook, whatever that may be. So you might want to introduce yourself. You might explain, why you're doing this business, or you might just have a really impactful hook on the size of the opportunity you've identified. So there could be anything at all in your introduction that you want to create an opening, something impactful for your judges, that they go, wow, okay, you've got my attention in the first few seconds. I want to hear more about this. You want to talk about the problem you're solving. So what have you identified? Are you doing something differently in your sector? What is it about your organization or your business that's doing something different? And what problem are you actually solving? You then want to talk about your solution. So you've identified a problem that no one else is fixing. This is my solution. This is what we're going to do. And you showcase your product or service. At some point, you want to talk about the market size and the revenue model. So, how big is this market? How many customers are there? Um, how have you validated those customers? Who have you spoken to? How do you make money? How have you validated that? These kind of things you might want to talk about briefly in this as well. You might want to talk about the competition, so who you're up against and why you're different. You'll definitely want to talk about the team behind this idea. What experience do you have, and maybe what experience do you need? You'll talk about what you've achieved so far in your traction. So, so far you've been able to achieve X, Y, and Z. And with Edge funding, we can go on to do, sky's the limit. And then they ask, what is it you want from that pitch? Obviously, in this case, you want funding, but what do you want that funding for? Why is it important for your business now? And what difference is it going to make? So most of you who have never done a pitch before, you'll just go into ChatGPT and you might say something like, give me an ideal pitch structure based on thousands of pitches, whatever that looks like. However you want to build your structure, you don't have to use this one, but you want to give the judges key headlines in your 3 minutes to give them something to work on. Because what we recommend to the judges is they watch the video and then read the application. Now, they don't always do it that way. It's entirely up to them. It depends how they consume information. But for me, I like to watch a video, get an overview, and then deep dive into the application and get more and more detail. So, one of the questions we get asked all the time is, how can I get my whole business into 3 minutes? Yeah, we're not looking for the whole business. We're looking for the key headline stuff. Okay, just a couple of words on each of these lines, and you should be able to get 450 words roughly maximum into 3 minutes. Speaking at the rate I'm speaking at the moment, that should easily give you 450 words to put into a 3 minute pitch video. So it can be done. But it's thinking about how much you want to say in each of these sections or any other sections or any other content that you want to put in. Think about maximum of 450 words. Speak clearly, speak concisely, speak calmly, tell your story in your own voice, be passionate about it, but give the judges some headline stuff to think about. And it kind of piques their interest. And then they go into the application form and they think, right, I've watched the video, there's lots of good stuff in here. I want to know more about the problem, I want to know more about the solution. Let's get into it, and they'll start reading the application form from there. So the assessment criteria at all stages is exactly the same assessment criteria as it is for Scottish Edge. So there's 6 key areas for assessment: the value proposition, team, the impact, the customer focus, business growth, and use of funding. And if you remember back to the portal screen that I showed you, where there was white and green boxes, these are the same boxes. So we ask you questions on these 6 key criteria areas in the application, and the judges will assess your application based on these key areas. And I'll break these down in a wee bit in a wee second in another slide. But that's the key areas the judges are looking at. That's the key areas they are assessing. So your first stage and final assessors, the assessors are from Scotland's business ecosystem as a whole, from the regional partners and wider. We try and recommend we've got a good male-female split in the partners as well in terms of the assessors. And certainly in the finals, we always aim for a 50-50 male-female split in the final judging panels. The assessors are given access to your application form and video, and they're given detailed guidance on how to assess that application and video. So we give them lots and lots of hints and tips, lots of guidance on what we're looking for. I'd be looking for them to give lots and lots of feedback, backing up their decision should your business move forward to the next stage or not. The assessors all come together. So once all the decisions have been made, there's a collective group deciding on the final decisions, who goes through to each stage. And certainly at the finals, the judges will have they'll have a time after they watch all the final pitches and they do their Q&A. They'll have time set aside to decide who gets the awards. And everyone involved in this process signs confidentiality agreements. So you can be comfortable that whatever you put in your application form is protected, it's covered by confidentiality. And to my knowledge, touch wood, Scottish Edge has never had a breach of confidentiality in 12 years. Very well protected, very well respected. What you put in that form is only read by the assessors, the Scottish Edge team. It's protected, so you can be confident that if you've got anything that's commercially sensitive, if you've got any intellectual property information you want to put in there, it is protected and it is safe. So I want to break down the assessment criteria in a wee bit more detail for you just to get you to understand what the judges are looking for. So the value proposition section, they're looking for, is the product or service clearly articulated? Is there good awareness of competition? Is there a clear point of difference? And are the key risks understood? Now you can take a screenshot of this screen if you want. You can take a picture on your phone. But these questions that are on here are the questions you get asked in your application form. So when at the beginning when I said there's no hidden formula here, if you answer the questions in the application form clearly and concisely, you're giving the judges this information. So you're giving them all the information they need to build a picture on making a decision on how strong your application is against all the other ones they're going to see and who's going to move forward. One of the key areas I want you to focus on is customer focus. So these questions here, has the business engaged with target customer base? What stage is the customer engagement at? And is there strong customer validation? Those two last words are the most common reasons an application fails at Scottish Edge. Customer validation. Customer validation. When it comes to presenting a business case, you have to show that there's customers for it. Customers you've spoken to, customers you've done focus groups with, customers you've gathered evidence from, customers you're selling to, whatever that looks like. Customer validation is not a survey that you've pulled off the internet to show that 5,000 people have this problem and now you're going to go and solve it. That's not customer validation. Customer validation is true insight that you've spoken to the customer segments, you've understood the problem that you're trying to solve, you've maybe validated some of your solution, but you've got real detailed insights. So another reason why applications can fail is when an applicant says 80% of the people we spoke to agreed that X, Y, and Z. That doesn't mean anything. 80%, that could be 80% of 10 people. That's not a quantitative a number to validate anything. Now that could be 80% of 1,000 people, but it's still 80%. You can't quantify it. So my advice would be if you're spoken to 100 people, we spoke to 100 people. If you're spoken to 10 people, we have spoken to 10 people. Quantify that number. Don't use percentages unless you give the number beside it to bring it into context. Customer focus, customer validation, one of the most important sections, because if you don't have a customer, you don't have a business. So the other sections are very important as well, but for me, major on the customer focus, if you have to go back and read one section, does that have all the information that judges are looking for? Have I convinced them I've got a customer base, a good size market, I validated it, I know what I'm doing, I know how to generate revenue. If you have to focus on one of the six key areas, focus on customer focus is really, really important. So top tips for submitting a great application. You've got to make it easy for the assessors to understand your business and don't leave the assessors with lots of unanswered questions. What I mean by that is don't write in jargon, don't write in sector speak, don't write acronyms that no one understands or they have to go look up. Write it in plain English, tell it like your granny would understand it, but explain the science behind it, but explain it in such a way that anybody can understand it. It's not up to the judges to go away and research acronyms and scientific speak and whatever that looks like, your scientific language or your sector language. It's not their job to do that. You have to tell it in such a way that they understand it. It's your job to do that. As you go through the process, be aware of the assessment criteria. It's all built into the questions anyway, so you shouldn't really miss that point. Make sure you outline your point of difference and show strong competitor analysis. So you know who your competitors are, you've analysed them, you can see their strengths, you can see their weaknesses, but this is your point of difference. This is what makes you different. This is why you'll stand out. Be realistic with your financial forecasting and explain how you will achieve this. So there's plenty of guidance on the website and in a brochure on how do you actually first submitting clear numbers. But be realistic about your finances. Saying that you're going to win £50,000 and next year you're going to generate 5 million, that's not realistic. Be super realistic about how much growth you're going to have and back it up in your application with sound assumptions. So sound assumptions could be, we currently this year we trade £10,000. If I get £50,000 from Edge, I can generate £50,000 of revenue next year, and that's based on X amount of customers spending X amount on my service, um, and we grow X%. What that looks like, using numbers to quantify the increase in customer numbers, the increase in revenue growth, the increase in profit, so on and so forth. So break it down so the judges understand where the growth is going to come from. Tell us about real customer engagement, not just stats on your sector. We've covered that. I'm not going to cover that again. Real detailed customer engagement. What we spend the funding on, simplify your spend breakdown. You don't have to break it down into we're going to spend £5 on a stapler, we're going to spend £10 on whatever it is. You know, quantify it together. Office equipment, £1,000. A bakery machine, whatever it's going to be, £5,000. But just break it down nice and chunky, simple, so the judges understand this person wants 10 grand to buy a piece of kit. Does that 10 grand piece of kit actually move this business forward? Well, yes, because it triples production. That kind of makes sense. So whatever it is you need the money for, make sure it's clear in your use of funding how it's going to move your business forward. Consider your impact intentions. So in the impact section of the Scottish Edge application, we ask you to consider your social impact, your environmental impact, net zero impact. We're not expecting every business to have a net zero action plan. That's not realistic. But what we're trying to achieve is we get you to think about how do you build into the foundations of the business that you're starting or starting to grow, how you intend to impact the environment on society in the future. Okay, so you may well be thinking about we're a product company. We don't have recyclable packaging at the moment, but in 2 years' time, we aim to have everything fully recyclable, whatever that looks like. So think about how you're going to build the impact of your business on society in terms of job creation, your business on the environment, maybe in terms of recycling, circular economy, and net zero. You know, put down some ideas there as to how do you hope to make an impact in future. Yeah, you can print or download your application at the end if you wish. It's very clear on how you do that. You can keep a copy. Double check the form before you submit it. Don't leave any sections blank. And whatever you do, don't go in at the last minute, submit a video, and just throw in some words and chuck in an application that's only 10% complete because it will be removed from the process. We can tell when someone has spent quality time on their application, used the correct word count, and took time over what they're trying to say. If you've left it to the last minute, don't bother applying because you won't get through. Unless you've got it all written down somewhere and you can put a quality application and video together, don't do that. Take your time, get started as early as possible. Don't put this off. Get started as early as possible. If you've not looked at the site yet, if you've not opened your application yet, my advice would be get a couple of hours this afternoon, get into the portal, have a look at details, have a look at what I've been talking about this morning, what is it you have to achieve, and get started as soon as possible. Don't leave any sections blank. You know, even if it's the impact section, you think, I don't do anything net zero. What do I do? I'm a computer-based business. What can I do for the environment? It's up to you to talk about how you hope to have an impact in future. So don't just leave it blank. Take some time, have some thoughts, and put some ideas down. And if anyone feels they need some additional support in completing their application, so if anyone feels they've got a neurodivergent condition that they want some extra support, please contact myself or Jack directly, and we can support with some reasonable support tools to help you complete your application. So if anyone wants to contact us directly, I'll give you the email addresses were at the start, but I can bring that back up and give you the email addresses at the end. And I'm also going to give you the email addresses for the regional partners who can support with that as well. So a couple of last bits, perfecting a good pitch video. What does it look like? This is your story in 3 minutes. So the panel want to see you. They want to see you being passionate, believable. They want to believe you're an entrepreneur. You know what you're doing. You've got passion for this, and you're going to deliver it. Take time to showcase your product or service, and whatever you do, don't leave them at the end of the 3 minutes saying, what is this? What does this business actually do? Take the time to showcase the product or service. Make sure whoever's watching this video knows what the business does. You could involve your team, possibly your customers, but if you're a solo entrepreneur, it's all about you. How are you going to deliver this? The video doesn't need to be Hollywood quality. This is about you, your product, and your business. So it could be a phone on your desk. You could be standing holding your phone, whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be Hollywood quality. You don't have to have slides on there. You don't have to have graphics. Tell your story for up to 3 minutes. Tell it with passion. Use the key information that we've given you. Communicate that across to the judges. Get them on the hook with this idea and get them diving into your application. Top tip on Hollywood quality, the opposite end of the scale. I'll give you an example. I once opened an application and clicked on a video link, and someone was walking down a windy street in Aberdeen holding their phone at the end of their hand. Clearly, a last minute application. Couldn't hear a word the guy was saying because the wind was just washing over his phone, and all you could see was his lips moving. Absolutely no value whatsoever. Didn't watch it back, threw it in at the last minute. Don't do that. It doesn't do your credibility any good. Take your time with your video, record it, watch it back. Does it say clearly exactly what you want to say? Submit it. Nice and simple. Be natural and engaging in your video. So, look at the camera. Don't hide behind slide deck. Judges want to see the entrepreneur. They want to see how you react. They want to see your passion for it. So don't present to a slide deck and the judges are hearing a voice. They can't connect with you as an entrepreneur in a video with that. So, come on screen, be brave, come on screen, talk to the judges, tell them why this is important to you and why you should get funding. You can use an auto cue, you can use notes for your pitch, that's absolutely fine. If the judge sees you reading from a piece of paper, that's okay. If you need that for support, that's absolutely okay. It's not a pitching competition, this is a business competition. But if you need a bit of support with a piece of paper or some notes, absolutely fine. Whatever you feel comfortable with, just be natural and engaging. Always remember your application form and video make up your combined submission. So what I mean by that is if you submit a really poor video, you're relying on the judges to get everything they need from the application form. And that is very difficult because you're asking them to build a picture from words if you haven't painted the picture in the video. So take time over the video. You don't, as I said, it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production, but take time over what you say and how you say it to complement and headline what is in the application form. You want your video to showcase what you're doing. The application form builds a bigger picture. I almost liken the video to being your opportunity to draw a black and white drawing of your business so the judge can see what the picture is. When they read the application, it colours that black and white picture in. Okay, so they go hand in hand. So make sure you take your time over your video. When you submit your video on YouTube, use the unlisted function and give yourself plenty of time for uploading that as well. It's really easy to do that. You can Google how you do it unlisted. It's on our website. It's in our brochure as well. So there's lots of guidance on how you do that. Unlisted just basically means that the only people who can view it are the ones you've sent the link to. So the link is on your application form. Judges can see that video. I will test the videos, make sure they work before they go out to the judges. So I will make sure that works and I'll contact you if it doesn't. But it's up to you to make sure it does work. And you've got it clicked as unlisted so no one else can view it. And watch your video back before you submit it. Take your time, watch the 3 minutes. Are you happy with it? Add it to your form, submit it from there. So securing Scottish Edge funding is more than just the money. So all applicants receive detailed feedback to help them with their business journey. That's all applicants, that's not just winners. So everybody who comes through the Scottish Edge Regional Edge process gets detailed feedback to help them, whether they're successful or not. So the judges reviewing your application form will give you feedback on what the strengths are and potential what can be strengthened for future for other funding competitions. All winners get access to a support package through all our key partners, and you can see all our key partners on the website. I think we've got 8 or 9 partners now. We've got Harper McLeod for legal, Johnson Carmichael for finance, James Hallam for insurance. We've got a HR partner on there, and we've got design. We've got lots of partners on there that all our winners get access to. Winners join the Edge alumni, so you get to join that network of over 700 businesses. So you can reach out and contact other Edge winners for support. You get relationship management support and a whole lot more. So it's not just about winning cash at Edge. It's about winning funding, growing your business, getting into an alumni network, getting into a support network, and really accelerating your business going forward. Last couple of slides for your key contacts for your individual regions, wherever you're applying to. The names are on screen. So we'll get Jen from Opportunity Northeast. Highlands and Islands, we'll get Caroline. From the combined Grow Biz and Elevator regions, we've got Becca. And from South of Scotland Enterprise, we've got Caitlin as well. So these guys, you can contact them directly if you have any questions. You can contact myself, kevin.walls@scottishedge.com, if you want to ask me directly anything. You can ask Edward anything. There is the info mailbox as well via our website. Lots of ways you can ask us questions. We're here to help. Ask us any questions and don't leave it to the last minute, please. Okay, that's the detail of the content. Where are we in time? Just about on time. I'm just going to stop sharing. Jack, where are we with the questions on the Q&A?
Yeah, I don't think we've anything outstanding. The only thing really was Alan was asking, he mentioned that a document that we provided last time on the website for applicants for Main Edge. I think it's the blank application form he's referring to. Um, is it possible to make something like that available
Yeah,
here?
I've requested that from an IT provider actually, and we'll get that on the website the next day or two. So
Yeah.
there'll be a blank form there that you can download and you can complete that offline.
Right.
It's a good question. I'll chase that up today.
Okay. And so just there's a few more just about eligibility. We probably need to get into more specifics of those individual businesses. So I've asked them to kind of follow up with us just to check the conditions around when they were founded and the trading dates and things like that.
Okay.
So I think we've got some follow-ups, but I think everything else was pretty much answered. I don't know if anyone wants to turn on a mic and ask. I think we've got all the partners with us as well. So if partners have got anything they want to ask on behalf of anyone that's come into them, please feel free also.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone wants to turn on a mic or raise a hand or anything, feel free.
Yeah. If you want to come on, you can put your video on, you can put your mic on. We're in a safe space here. You can ask us anything. Please feel free. We're here to help and we want to give you as much information as possible. Morning, Becca. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Mm.
Good.
I'm
Good to
good.
see you. Other partners here as well. I see Caroline's here. Caitlin's here as well. Morning, Caroline. How are you? Caitlin, morning. How are you?
Morning.
Morning.
Mhm.
And Jen is currently in Boston from Opportunity Northeast, so I'm not sure if she's going to be on the call. We've got our other key partners here as well if you want to ask anything directly.
Yeah,
So I'm
so
just going to give it a few more seconds if anyone's got any questions. Oh, I've got something.
yep,
No, that's okay.
yep. Just so just some from Craig come in there. Kev,
Yeah,
just say, does collaboration with Innovate UK affect eligibility?
no, it doesn't. No, not at all. You can apply for Regional Edge.
Yep.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Guy. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Our endpoint is basically selling on, getting to a point where farmers are interested. Is that an eligible criterion for this competition?
So if you have an exit strategy, is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay, that does not preclude you from applying. What the judges will then have to consider is what is the impact of the award on the business? How does that affect the Scottish economy in terms of job creation, in terms of revenue generation, tax back to the government, that type of thing? And your exit strategy maybe 5 years' time. That's okay. That's absolutely fine to apply.
Great. Thanks very much.
Jack, I'm going to pick up one that flashed up from Suzanne on loan repayments.
All right, okay.
So loans, if you're applying for the £50,000 award, your 50k award will be released in two tranches. So if you secure that 50k award, it will be released in two tranches. Each tranche is £25,000 and 70% of that will be a loan. So the loan terms are 9.7% APR, which comes from a flat rate of 5%. And that 9.7% is broadly in line with commercial lending at the moment. It's over a maximum of 60 months. So 5 years is a maximum term you can repay that loan. And as I said, we can be super flexible around the loan repayments. So depending on what stage your business is at, you can work with the relationship management team to talk about how much the payments are, what period you want to take it over, and we can have a direct discussion with the winners on those awards as well. So that's some of the kind of headline stuff. We don't take personal guarantees on the loans. So this is why we're a bit more flexible than some banks or lenders. So we're not asking you, put your house on the line here. There's no personal guarantees. The loan sits with your limited company or your business entity. Susanna, does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks, Kevin. I think it does. In terms of when the loan repayments have to start after, if you're successful with the award, is the flexibility there, and how much has to be paid back, and is it monthly, annually? Just a little bit more information there would be warmly received. Thank you.
No worries. So as soon as your first loan goes in, because it's in two tranches, 1 month later you'll start the repayments. 28th of each month, and there'll be a schedule created for your loan broken down over the 5 years, and it'll be the same monthly payment each month over the 5 years. When you draw down tranche two, your second loan from that will come in, and that will be the same terms as the first loan. So if you secure £50,000, your 35,000 in loans will be two £17,500 loans, two payments each month, 28th of the month, same amounts, and they'll come into your bank account. And each monthly payment will start a month after you've drawn down the funds.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Right, so there's a few coming there, Kev. I'll just start from the top. So I think Ross is asking, do you feel that solo founders are at a disadvantage in the process? So historically, I suppose, I guess, against kind of, partners, etc.
No, not at all. I can think of some of the most amazing solo entrepreneurs who have won Scottish Edge at all levels, at Young Edge, Wild, Regional, Main Edge, and have won huge amounts of funding. It's about the entrepreneur. It's about what you believe you can deliver, your experience, what you want to build, your vision, your passion. That's what you want to get across. So, whilst having a team behind you can be great, but if you're a solo entrepreneur and you know your strengths and you know how you're going to build a team around you, when you're going to get them from, you're not at any disadvantage to apply at all.
Okay, perfect. And we've got Karen from Opportunity Northeast here as well, just letting us know. So someone was Susanna, did you get that question answered? Just asking Kev to expand on loan repayment in timeline terms.
Yeah, that was great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
perfect. Thank you. Um,
Did I see one about a Tier 4 visa?
I didn't. Maybe that's come to you. I don't see that one.
Let me just check the chat function, Jack.
Maybe it's come to you directly. I'm just trying to get an order here. So Guy's got a follow-up question. Can repayments on loan be part of the exit strategy?
I'm not quite sure what that means. Who asked that question? Would you mind
I
coming
think
on?
it was Guy. He was talking about his exit strategy earlier on.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Saying
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's fine. You've covered that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And also he was saying, just follow up to that, he's saying, can repayment of loan be part of the exit strategy?
So the loan potentially could be transferred, but only by exception. So that would have to be discussed. But that would suggest you want to exit earlier than 5 years. So legally it can be transferred, but only by exception and only if the whoever you exit to agrees to take on that loan. Because if they don't, it can't be transferred.
Okay. Thank you. So Samantha is asking, if this is a new startup business, can you still apply if you already have a separate business but have received no loans or grants with my other business? So,
Yes, that's absolutely fine. If you've started a new entity and you want to get funding from Regional Edge to fund that business, that's absolutely fine. You can apply.
okay. So I think Leah is asking how are fees for delivery partners dealt with? I'm assuming that's delivery partner for the business as opposed to our delivery partners. How are fees for delivery partners dealt with in the application? For example, a 5K salary is required for delivery partner to deliver part of the project, for instance.
That just goes down in your use of funding. So if you
Source.
need 5,000K from Regional Edge to um, pay a delivery partner to do a substantial part of your business growth, whatever that may be, funding, whether that be research or development, then that goes in your use of funding.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See the tier four visa. I think it's come in now. Yes, I think this is a follow-up of a conversation that was had offline just around is there any way we can apply with a tier four visa at all? Can you take the idea further forward? But as a fourth year medical student, is there any way around not being able to be self-employed and run a business, etc.?
Why is it? I think that's from Shreya Cannon. Why don't you
Yeah.
get in contact us with directly, and we'll look at your individual circumstances to make a definitive answer. The government guidance states that you can't be involved in setting up a business or taking a salary. You're only permitted to work part-time, 20 hours a week, I believe. But if you get in contact with us directly, we'll look at your individual circumstances and we'll give you a bit more detailed, nuanced guidance on that one.
Okay, thanks. From Nicola, with regards to customer focus validation, sorry, for holiday accommodation, for example, we use Visit Scotland research as part of our pre-start feasibility, but after trading, we would use reviews for this section. So I think it's about just validating.
If your data from Visit Scotland is independently verified, and that's all you have to go on, then yes, that could be counted as customer validation in the early stages. So it could be because independently verified data from Visit Scotland. Ideally, if I was reading your application, I might want to see a bit more nuanced kind of focus groups or some kind of other data to back that up and not just standalone itself. But if you feel as if that's strong enough for the judges, you're willing to submit that. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Samantha just asking, do you require evidence of spend essentially with the money, the funding, so receipts?
Yes.
Yeah.
So all funds are released in two tranches, whether it be a grant or the grant loan element. And the first tranche will be released. Once you've spent that and you come back in for the second tranche, we will ask for receipts of your first spend to validate the money has been spent against the agreed spend activity and milestones.
Thank you. I'll just asking if you apply for 50k, are you also considered against the 15 and 10?
No, you have to decide if you want a £50,000 loan grant or if you want to go for the grant only itself. By exception, if the judges feel that a 50k applicant really only needs 10 or 15k and on the final day they decide to change that, but that's by exception and it's not part of the process. So decide how much funding you want, how much funding you need, I should say, and apply for that amount. So don't apply for 50 in the hope that you'll get 15. If you're only applying for 50 because you need 50, you're only applying for 15 and 10 because you need 15 and 10 to move your business forward. So be decisive and only apply for what you need.
Thank you. Again, and then yeah, I think how would you quantify good validation? Essentially, what's a good number for
So as I
customers?
said earlier, there is no definitive answer to this, but you need to be comfortable that you've spoken to enough people or you've gathered enough information to validate the market size that you're going after is there. So that's incumbent on the applicant. You know, I gave you some examples of 80% of 10 people. Speaking to 8 people does not validate a customer segment. You need some quantity. You need some quantity, some numbers behind that to back it up that you've done some serious customer focus, customer validation, and that's backed up in a wider context. So there is no definitive answer to that, but you have to be comfortable that the validation you've done is enough to prove a market exists and it's a big enough market that can generate the revenue you're going after.
Okay, thank you. So someone just asking about the panel setup. Is it the same panel? But I think it's more so because they're looking at they've got a bit of a clash with one of the final dates. Can they move to another location if they can't make their locations final? So essentially, if you're Dundee based and you want to go to Aberdeen, you pitch.
No, I'm afraid not. The dates for the finals are set. If you apply for the Opportunity Northeast one, you have to be prepared to go face to face at that final. We can't move the dates, I'm afraid, and there's no opportunity to move between regions. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right, it's fine. That one was answered. If you apply for 10k, do you receive all in a lump sum? If you're
No,
10k.
we just covered that. All the awards are given out in two tranches. For the £50,000 award, it's two £50,000, it's two 50% tranches. So you get two 25s if it's a 50k award. And if it's the 10 or £15,000 grants, it's 75% first tranche, 25% second tranche.
Mhm. Again, this one might be more specific, need followed up, but just asking, can you apply as someone on a graduate visa when you're not sure if you're going to keep residing in Scotland?
Well, I think you just answered your own question. If you're not going to be residing in Scotland, I'm not sure how you're going to build a business in Scotland. But if you want to give us a wee, drop us a wee note, we can have a face-to-face conversation on that. because the judges want to make sure that the money that's going into these businesses is going to add value in the future.
Another one. In terms of covering your own costs in terms of covering your own costs to free you up to deliver the development enabling through the funding, how is this approached?
So in our application brochure website, it's very clear. Scottish Edge funding cannot be used to pay founders, current directors, or staff. So this is growth funding that's going in. So this is additionality. This is bringing in new staff, bringing in new equipment, acquiring new customers, whatever that may be. But it's not to pay existing founders, directors, or staff.
Okay. Okay, nothing else in the chat? There's-
Well done, Jack. That was a flood that came in there. I was watching him coming in at the
I know.
coming in there. That was well handled. Is there anyone's question that we haven't captured? Feel free to put a hand up if there's anything we have missed.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh, one more.
wait a minute. There we go. Oh, right. Last two. Carry on, Jack. Do you want to lead the way?
Yep. So applying for funds to use as working capital does not qualify if it can be demonstrated as a potential inhibitor to growth.
So your working capital, no, because this is additional funds. You need the money to contribute towards people, stock, a sales plan, a marketing channel, whatever that may be, but not working capital. Working capital is not accepted as a use of funds, I'm afraid. I understand it could be considered an inhibitor to growth, but what is that working capital going to be allocated towards to grow your business? That could be your use of funding.
Yeah, so I think this one's just looking about does it impact the eligibility? So I think it's more charity based. The directors don't own the business. Don't think that's standard in charities. Does that
That's okay, as long as it's a registered charity with the charitable organisation, which has just gone from my head, then the business is still eligible to apply.
Cool. Thank you.
The OSCR, thank you.
Okay, I think that's us.
Okay, I think we've got everything. Any questions after this session, please feel free to email myself or the partners. Partners, if you don't mind staying on at the end, we can have a quick couple of minutes to catch up because we got through that quite quickly. But for everyone else, thank you very, very much for joining us. And here we go. There's a question.
Can you apply if you're a director but are only part-time, or do you need to be working full-time in your business?
No, part-time directors are absolutely fine to apply there, Michael, so please feel free. Okay, thanks everyone. Good luck, and hopefully we'll see lots of applications in this round. So best of luck and get in touch if you need anything.
Thanks. Bye.